So it seemed like a done deal, or at least a safe bet. The Menendez brothers, riding a wave of publicity and public support, seemed likely to leave their Southern California prison in a matter of weeks until the state's parole board, back-to-back virtual hearings, decided that the pair should stay locked up for the shotgun murders of their parents in 1989. They can try for parole again in as little as 18 months. And there's still that petition for clemency on the governor's desk. There's also the brothers' push for a new trial or reduced conviction. So there's a lot still going on. Last month, the state judge ruled that evidence of Lyle and Eric's sexual abuse by their father, which the jury at their second trial never saw, may well throw their murder one convictions into doubt. So how does all this play out? Joining me now to walk us through all of this is Neama Rahmani, a defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, and friend of the show. All right, Neama, one thing I was confused by is they said you can come back in 3 years, but then I'm also hearing 18 months in terms of when they'll be eligible again. What does that mean?
So, Ryan, you're absolutely right. 3 years is the statutory minimum under California law. It can actually be as long as 15 years. So the brothers did get the low end. Now, they can't petition to advance that hearing or move it earlier, but you really need to show changed circumstances. It's a tough legal hurdle to meet. Oftentimes, it's a health scare or something like that that's changed. Nothing much is going to change in the next 18 months with respect to Eric and Lyle Menendez. So I think it's unlikely they're going to be able to meet that high standard under California law.
So you don't think that, because my sense was maybe this was the parole board's way of saying, well, if you just behave really well for the next 18 months, show us you can do it, you get to come back and we'll grant you parole. You didn't get that vibe?
No, not necessarily. Obviously they need to show rehabilitation, but changed circumstances something more. And obviously, one of the big issues at Thursday and Friday's parole board hearings were their conduct. I mean, they spent hours on it. We talked about, cell phone use, drug use, gang affiliations, even contraband like lighters and Adidas shoes. So if they keep their nose clean for the next year and a half, I don't think that's going to be enough for changed circumstances. Obviously, we know the district attorney's office has really said that they have an accepted responsibility. So maybe some more admissions would help in terms of what they did. The problem is, like you mentioned, Brian, they still have that pending habeas petition. So they're arguing self-defense on one hand, and they still have a shot at that, not a good one. So if they were to come before the board and say that, we killed our parents because we wanted to get revenge because we're being sexually abused by our father, Jose, and our mother, Kitty, didn't protect us, that's really going to hurt that habeas petition and that self-defense argument.
Yeah, and I noticed with Eric's parole hearing, he was specifically asked, was it self-defense? And he said no at the parole hearing, which is different from what we've sort of heard in the documentaries and all along. Could what they said in the parole hearing interfere with what they're trying to do with getting the convictions thrown out?
Brian, absolutely. And I think the brothers and their lawyers realized that the more direct path would be parole or even clemency. Self-defense is a very difficult argument because under California law, for you to use deadly force, you need to be at imminent risk of death or serious bodily injury. And one of the brothers had moved out, one was planning to move out. But even the facts of the murder themselves, shooting their parents in the back of the head while they're watching TV and eating ice cream, that just doesn't fall within the four corners of self-defense law. Now, I understand the psychology of abuse, and I've gone on record saying that the fair and just result would be for the brothers to be released after 36 years. But to argue self-defense under these facts, especially with respect to their mother, Kitty, it just doesn't fit. So that's why I think the habeas petition will fail.
So, yeah, in terms of what else is going on here, the habeas petition throughout the convictions, and then also the possibility of the governor getting involved with clemency, do you see either of those working out?
I think no on the habeas petition. I thought Governor Gavin Newsom, and like you said, a lot of us talking heads thought that this was a mere formality. Let's not forget that he ordered the comprehensive risk assessment in this case before the brothers were even deemed parole eligible. I mean, that's something that happens after the fact. A site goes in, they interview the inmates, they determine whether they're low or medium risk. Newsom did that before they were even resentenced. So it seemed like he was going to rubber stamp the parole board's recommendation if they did indeed recommend parole, because of course under California law, the governor has the final say. So now he's put in a position where he has to essentially pardon the brothers or commute their sentence overrule the parole board's denial. And as we know, now this has turned entirely political, even more than it already was. And of course, it's no secret that Newsom is eyeing the Oval Office in 2028. Is he really going to stick his neck out and pardon the Menendez brothers and make it a huge issue in the next presidential election? I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah, especially when people are so divided on this issue. You know, when all the documentaries came out, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, all my friends are obsessed and support the Menendez brothers. But then when I was covering the parole hearings in California, I realized there's this equally as vocal group of people who do not want them to get out.
I think that's absolutely right. And if you go on NewsNation in the comments, you'll see people almost evenly divided. There are many that believe that they're victims of sex abuse and that they rose up against their abuser and that they should absolutely be freed. Similar to Gypsy Rose, which really got a lot of press. And obviously we talked about it on this show. And there's others who believe that they're stone cold killers who killed their parents and should have been executed in the early 90s in California. So they're really polarizing figures. And obviously, when you add the legal layer and political on top of it, you're not going to get a result that everyone's going to be satisfied with when it comes to Eric and Lyle Menendez.
Yeah, and it's interesting when I talk to people who are younger who have just watched the docs, they're like they sympathize with them. But then I talk to older people, family members who are like, you weren't even alive. You don't know what it was really like. They're killers. So people are divided. Neama Rahmani, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Of course, Brian. Talk to you soon.